Don Lemon keeps embarrassing himself. Take a look.
Salary comes from our tax dollars.
If you look right here, there's MAGA hats on the thing. All right, let's go.
As the failed journalist keeps chasing publicity stunts, he seems to be getting more unhinged by the day. With the regular Americans he interviews end up exposing the narratives he's trying to sell.
The president said he wants to send troops here to Maryland. What do you think, Baltimore?
I'm not opposed of it.
Right.
I think it'll be a good idea.
And today, we're covering it all. So, let's jump right into it.
And this is Don Lemon, and we're here visiting, and we would like to let her know that we are.
Hey, there are ways that you can request an interview with the congresswoman and bombarding our office and a
Oh no, we're not bombarding. This is the people's house, and we're very peacefully coming here to talk to you.
Yeah,
We're American citizens. We can come here.
reach out to
Right?
our communications director.
perfect.
And what's your name?
Can I get one, please?
Yeah.
What's your name?
I don't have to tell you that.
You don't.
Yeah,
You
work
work
for
in
us.
a. You
Thank
work
you.
in a.
We work for the
public
people
service.
of Northwest.
Oh, I know Alex.
No, you work for the American people, and your
I
salary
know this
comes
guy.
from our tax dollars. You work for
Still
us.
reporting.
Yeah, well, that's not.
Oh,
That's
no. Oh,
not
look,
for
if
our,
you look right here,
Don Lemon, he's a journalist.
there's,
He's exercising
let's-
his
There's
First Amendment.
MAGA hats on the thing.
You know.
All right, let's go.
Please get out of our office.
All right. Thank you.
This is the people's
Come on,
house.
man.
Yeah.
Now, this goes to show that ever since CNN fired Don, he's turned himself into a sort of citizen journalist whose whole brand revolves around being as obnoxious as possible to get clicks. On top of that, he seems to think everyone should bend over backwards just because he's holding a microphone. We've seen this play out time and time again. The most famous example was when he interrupted a church service in Minnesota and acted completely oblivious to the fact that people have a right to worship without being disturbed. But things don't always go according to plan for Lemon, and he's been getting caught off guard when talking to everyday Americans, especially when asking them what they think about the National Guard deployments.
Listen to the places. Los Angeles, blue, right? Chicago, that he's saying he's going to send
Actually,
it.
Memphis is blue.
Blue.
Every city.
Well, Tennessee is a red state, okay?
But Memphis is extremely blue.
Okay, but still, it's in a red state.
But
All
you're
right,
using
let's
an
put it that
example of
way.
a
Okay, well,
Democrat.
fine. Let's just say Memphis. Baltimore, blue.
Blue.
Yeah. So,
Name me a
DC,
big
blue.
city that's not blue.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me say
Well,
something.
there.
Don, let me say something. Listen, they're saying that has a crime problem.
Well, every city has crime problem.
Not like those cities that you mentioned.
Jackson, Mississippi has crime.
Let's take
Every
the-
big city has a crime problem.
But that's exactly my problem. If you want to talk about addressing, when you had a new mayor in New York and they clean up crime, everybody's happier.
Yeah.
And that happened to be a Republican that did that.
I think you're making a very good point. Hang on one second. Every big city is blue. What does that say? A lot of people want to live in big blue cities.
Sure.
And if you
And they're happier when?
if you're in a big city and you have more people, you're going to have a bigger crime
And
rate.
they're happier
the
when,
thing
though?
is, hang on. The thing is, what's important. I talked to my mom who just visited me.
The guy was stating facts. While Don kept shifting the goalpost every time the conversation stopped going his way, and when he actually ran out of arguments, he fell back on, quote, well, my mom thinks, as if that somehow settled the debate. Look, I've got nothing but respect for moms, but that's not exactly the strongest piece of evidence you can bring to the table. And it wasn't an isolated moment either. When he went to Baltimore and talked to people on the ground, he seemed genuinely shocked to find that many of them were supportive of the National Guard deployments as well.
I think it would help some.
Why so?
Coming from a family that was broken up, my husband was murdered 2 years ago, and nothing was ever done.
Murder where? At home?
Right out in front of our house.
Sorry.
It was a carjacking gone wrong, and they shot him in his head. Killed him instantly, so. But again, our lovely mayor didn't do nothing.
Did they ever find the perpetrator?
Nope.
So you want to see it.
Yes, I want justice.
You want justice, and you would like to see the troops here in the National Guard.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The president said he wants to send troops here to Maryland. What do you think, Baltimore into Maryland?
I'm not opposed of it.
Right.
I think it'll be a good idea.
Why so?
Maybe we can clean up some of this crime-ridden neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know,
Is the crime bad?
very bad, atrocious.
Now, the people simply want to live in a safe community, which is a point many MSM outlets don't seem to be getting. And we'll play proof of it right after a quick word from today's sponsor. Now, a few weeks ago, we covered Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the US and Saga in Canada, a company that has become a regular feature on our channel. But We're revisiting this story sooner than expected, because in a very short time, it looks like they've hit another home run. In less than 6 months, they've changed the scale of the company. Less than 48 hours ago, Saga announced a 100% drill success rate across all 57 drill holes, achieving it ahead of schedule. And that's only part of the story. You see, Saga also brought in $10 million through a financing round focused entirely on drilling, adding major capital to an already aggressive program. They strengthened their position further with a titanium acquisition secured from under Rio Tinto, a global mining giant worth over $100 billion, in the same district as the largest titanium mine on the planet. Then came the Wolverine Project, expanding Saga's footprint inside one of the region's most important mineral belts. So why is all this happening so fast? Pretty simple. Titanium and critical minerals have become national priorities. Between Project Vault, executive orders, and billions in government support, Washington is aggressively pushing to secure domestic supply chains. Even the State Department is now coordinating with 55 foreign ministers on a critical mineral strategy. Saga is positioning itself directly where policy, capital, and defense demand are moving. And so far, they've over-delivered in the first half of 2026. So, if you want to learn more about the story, check out the link in the description. Now back to the video. Even after all of Don's failed propaganda attempts through his street interviews, and despite people being fed up with rising crime and lack of public safety, MSNBC was working overtime to paint the whole thing as an attack on democracy. And they went on multiple tangents justifying their position.
Donald Trump's deployment of troops to patrol Americans is illegal, and it smacks of an illicit bid to create Trump's own national police force, a police state. Now, rhetoric about Trump can be intense in politics. And he, of course, did try to steal the 2020 election that he lost. And lately, he's been musing repeatedly about being a, quote, dictator, or why some people like some things dictators do. And Trump's talking about crime, but the whole point is not whether there is sometimes terrible crime in our country, like in Chicago this weekend, there definitely was. But that, as I told you at the top of the news tonight, our laws restrict soldiers trained for war, armed for war, from using that war training on our own people, on you.
Now, he barely spent any time explaining why he opposed the deployments, while listing multiple points that basically boil down to Orange Man bad. And it's easy to take that approach when you're largely insulated from the consequences because of lax policing. The thing is, in city after city, these deployments were followed by noticeable drops in crime, with Washington, D.C. being one of the most talked about examples. This is the exact point Scott Jennings expanded on during a CNN debate, saying this.
I don't know what's authoritarian about putting some extra eyes and ears on the street, getting criminals off the street to keep people from being murdered and carjacked. Nobody in their right mind believes Washington, D.C. is safe. And to say the president's trying to help us keep people from getting murdered and carjacked and we have to stop this authoritarian push, I mean, it's just sort of ridiculous rhetoric. These Democrats don't know what to do with themselves. Every time Donald Trump tries to do something, they reflexively feel the need to oppose it without thinking through the political implications for themselves.
You think Democrats are taking the bait?
Well, I think they're acting like idiots here. The city is crime-ridden. I saw a guy get murdered in Union Station in February at 4 p.m. So everybody who visits there, everybody who lives there knows it's a serious problem. You have extra eyes and ears. They've arrested criminals. They're getting illegal guns off the street. People feel safer. Tourists feel safer. What is the problem?
The key takeaway here is that a lot of police departments across the country are dealing with serious staffing shortages right now. And while these deployments are band-aids that help solve the crime issues in the short term, they are more than welcome. At the end of the day, people deserve to live in communities where they don't have to worry about becoming victims simply because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Public safety shouldn't be a luxury or a partisan issue. It's one of the most basic expectations people have from the government. So we should actively pursue it without letting ideological hacks hijack the conversation. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, keep thinking.